Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for our online engagement for the Central Business District Neighborhood Traffic Review. My name is Natalie Bode, and I'm the Senior Transportation Engineer responsible for neighborhood traffic reviews. I'm joined by Marinil Flores, the Project Manager for the Central Business District.
Hello.
And we're also joined by Chelsea Lanning, another member of the Neighborhood Traffic Review team. Chelsea will be helping us behind the scenes with the question and answer forum a little bit later in the meeting. Please note that our meeting tonight will be recorded and posted to the Engage page for the Central Business District Neighborhood Traffic Review. This will allow residents who are unable to participate to watch the video and let us know if they have any additional traffic concerns than those that we've heard tonight. Online meetings are still a bit new to us, so we appreciate your patience as we go through all of the materials. And to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly and that we minimize as many technical difficulties with audio as we can, we ask that you type your comments in the question and answer box, and I will read them out. If you are unable to type your comments in the question and answer box, or if you have any other technical difficulties during the meeting, we ask that you reach out to us through one of our other engagement methods to submit your traffic concerns. We have options for email, phone, online survey, letters, the report a traffic issue app, and we'll provide details for all of those methods a little bit later in the meeting. I just wanted to bring to your attention that if you are joining us with a cell phone, when you enter your comments in the question and answer box, the video will queue up for you so that you don't miss any of the discussion. However, this also means that you'll be out of sync with the live feed. So just wanted you to be aware of that in advance. It looks like we have a few people attending tonight. We have just a few. So hopefully we'll have a couple others join us later on. I hope that you have all had a chance to review our video series, which provided an overview about the neighborhood traffic review process, common solutions that we use to address traffic issues and traffic concerns that have been previously brought to our attention by residents in the Central Business District. Tonight, we're hoping to hear from you. We want to know where you're experiencing traffic issues, things like speeding, pedestrian and cycling safety, or traffic safety. You are our local experts for the Central Business District, and we know that you know your neighborhood best. So we really rely on your knowledge to help us identify the problem areas. Please feel free to start entering your questions or comments in the question and answer box at any time. Councillor Block, who is your council representative, was hoping to join us this evening. She has not signed on yet, so I'm hoping she's not having any technical difficulties, but if she does happen to join, we'll give her a chance to say a few words. If you have any concerns that you want to bring to her attention, please feel free to enter them and we'll pass them along, or you can contact her directly. We also often have a member of the traffic unit of the Saskatoon Police Service join us during our meeting so that they can answer your traffic enforcement questions. Unfortunately, Staff Sergeant Nolan Berg was unable to join us for tonight's meeting, and he sends his regrets. So if you have any enforcement concerns, we'll collect them and pass them on to him so that he's aware of your concerns and he can consider them when he's dispatching enforcement officers. Okay, so at this point, I'll ask Marinil if you can please share your screen, and we'll get started with an overview of the locations of concern that we've heard so far.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Marinil Flores, and I will be the project manager for the Central Business District Neighborhood Traffic Review. So today we will be discussing traffic in your neighborhood, such as what's working and what's not working. So right now I'll be showing a map of your neighborhood to get you oriented. Central Business District is bound by Idlewild Drive to the west, shown in red here. South Saskatchewan River to the east or south, shown here, and 25th Street to the north, shown here. 22nd Street is shown in orange here. City Hall is here, and Midtown Mall is here. Tonight, we'll review the concerns we've heard so far, and we'll gather more feedback from you so that we can create a plan to gather traffic data and perform site observations prior to the second neighborhood traffic review meeting. We will also be using Google Maps so that we can zoom into any location you have concerns about. Feel free to add your concerns as we go through the presentation. We'll check the Q&A box after each transportation theme to see if any new comments for that theme have been submitted. So the first slide that I'll go through is pedestrian safety. So I'd like to provide a summary of the concerns that I've received so far. This slide shows locations of pedestrian concerns in orange on the map. So number 1, at 25th Street and west of Pacific Avenue, poor visibility of pedestrians at this mid-block crosswalk. So flashing crosswalk lights were requested back in 2017. A rectangular rapid flashing beacon, also known as a RRFB, was installed in May of this year. Number 2, at 23rd Street and Pacific Avenue, the audio is broken for the northwest pedestrian push button. This is being investigated. Number 3, at 1st Avenue and 21st Street, there was an interest in pedestrian volumes here. Number 4, at 24th Street and 5th Avenue, there are issues with pedestrian wait times at this signalized intersection. Number 5, at 24th Street and 6th Avenue, a 3-way stop was suggested to assist seniors crossing the street to the bus stop. There are also concerns that vehicles are not stopping or slowing down for pedestrians. Number 6, at Spadina Crescent and 24th Street, pedestrians do not feel safe crossing due to high speeds of turning vehicles and lack of driver attention. Number 7, at Spadina Crescent and 23rd Street, pedestrians also do not feel safe crossing here due to vehicle speeds. There is an active pedestrian corridor at this location. We would like to hear from you on why this crossing feels unsafe. Are pedestrians crossing on the south side where there isn't a device? Are they not using the device push button that's located on the north leg? Number 8, at 22nd Street and 5th Avenue, flashing lights were requested at this intersection because vehicles are not stopping for pedestrians. And then number 9 is the last pedestrian safety concern. It's just a general comment. It was suggested that traffic flow and pedestrian safety would be improved by the use of scramble corners at a few intersections in the central business district. So scramble crossings or corners provide exclusive walk faces to pedestrians, and it stops traffic in all directions. This allows pedestrians to cross diagonally, laterally at any leg of the intersection. However, it creates longer cycle lengths and longer waits between crossings. So Natalie will check the Q&A box to see if there are any additional pedestrian safety concerns from the group tonight.
A couple comments have been submitted, but they're not about pedestrian safety. So I'll read them out a little bit later when we get to this theme.
Okay. Yep, we have traffic control next as the next theme, and then we have speeding, shortcutting, and then other concerns. So we'll get to those. All right, so traffic control. We also heard suggestions for traffic control at the locations shown in green on the map here. So number 10, at 24th Street and Pacific Avenue, the traffic signal was requested due to sightlines being obstructed by buildings and parked vehicles. So the traffic signals were not warranted, so we installed temporary curb extensions and relocated the stop bars. We will be assessing the effectiveness of these temporary devices to determine if further action is required at this intersection. At 11, Idlewild Drive and Auditorium Avenue, there's a burnt out pedestrian walk light on the west side. A site visit was completed, and although the pedestrian hand signal is a bit dim, it is still visible. Number 12, at Idlewild Drive and 20th Street, there was a comment that if there is a zipper merge here, a sign is needed. This was also investigated, and a zipper merge in the southbound direction was not what was intended here, so zipper merge signs were not installed. At 13, 24th Street and 3rd Avenue, Lane designation signs were suggested due to driver confusion and near misses, especially in the winter when snow is covering the painted left turn bays. Number 14, 24th Street and 6th Avenue. A three-way stop is suggested here due to long delays and near misses for southbound left turning traffic. Number 15, at 23rd Street and 5th Avenue, we received a lot of suggestions for a four-way stop here. Number 16, 20th Street and Spadina Crescent. A three-way stop is requested here due to high volumes of traffic, and we also received a lot of emails about this one too. Number 17, Spadina Crescent and the Delta Hotel cul-de-sac. There was a request for an oversized yield sign or stop sign because vehicles exiting out of the cul-de-sac yield to southbound vehicles driving towards the Broadway Bridge, but not to northbound vehicles driving from the Broadway Bridge. And then the last traffic control concern location is number 18, 19th Street and 3rd Avenue. So lane designation signs were suggested here due to driver confusion and near misses. Overhead lane designation signs were added last year, which should have resolved this issue. If you have any traffic control concerns, please enter them now and we'll take a look at the Q&A box.
We did have one traffic control question come in. For traffic signals, are they all pre-programmed or do they change based on time of day, like heavy traffic business hours versus late at night? Do the operations change?
So I believe in the downtown, they are pre-timed based on the peak hour, right, Natalie?
Yes, I believe, well, right now, everything's a little bit different because of COVID. So everything is called, it's on pedestrian recall mode. And a lot of our downtown signals are on that mode as well. So the cycle lengths are a little bit shorter so that pedestrians always get the walk light. And I'm not too sure how much they change for peak business hours versus late at night. We can double check with our traffic signal timing technician and double check that. And another comment about traffic control. Please don't put a three-way stop at 20th and Spadina. It's only a couple of times a day when it's a factor. Otherwise, let the traffic flow on Spadina. So that's why we really enjoy having these meetings, because then we hear both perspectives usually when we get residents giving their thoughts. And it's nice to get the balance of opinions. So thanks for letting us know that. Here's another one. Don't many lights go to flashing red or amber after a certain hour? And I believe the only time our lights go to flashing red is when there's a technical issue or it's a new traffic signal that we're testing the equipment on. I don't believe we go to flashing red at night. That may have been done in the past, I'm not too sure. Did you have, Mary Neal or Chelsea, do you guys know anything about flashing red? No? Okay. So again,
I recall when it is really early in the morning, but I haven't had the chance to actually experience it in a while. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
that I was driving through the downtown, and I don't know if it's you know, based on driving through stuff like that, but we can definitely ask our technicians and then record the answer in the meeting minutes.
Yeah. And then someone else has commented about that three-way stop at 20th and Spadina. Mm-hmm. I agree that turning onto Spadina can be sketchy at that corner or that intersection, but I would be concerned that putting a three-way stop there would cause congestion on Spadina. So that's a fair point. We do have a stop and yield policy that we have to double check the traffic volumes and the traffic splits of cars going through there during the peak hours to verify if it would warrant an all-way stop. And I'm not sure if the splits would be there, but we can double check it through the study. Okay, and that's all that's come in about traffic control so far. If you have more pedestrian safety or traffic control concerns, you're not limited to this time. You can enter them at any point and we'll get to them. But I think you can go on to your next theme, Mary-Neil.
Sounds good. Okay, so the next theme is speeding and shortcutting. So these concerns were brought to our attention at the locations in blue on the map. So number 19, that is along 24th Street between 2nd Avenue and Spadina Crescent. We heard that vehicles are shortcutting from Idlewild Drive and vehicles are shortcutting from the University Bridge onto 24th Street. It was also noted that 22nd Street and 25th Street should be used instead of 24th Street. Number 20, along Spadina Crescent between 3rd Avenue and 21st Street, there was a request that this section be designated as a pedestrian and cyclist only roadway with an exception to allow buses and vehicular access for the hotels and parking lots. And then the last concern for this one, number 21, is at 3rd Avenue and 26th Street. Although this is just outside the study area, we heard that there's a lot of traffic traveling at high speeds and vehicle noise concerns at this intersection. This intersection will be reviewed as part of the Neighbourhood Bikeways project, where 5 corridors have been identified to develop neighborhood bikeways. So you can go ahead and enter your speeding and shortcutting concerns into the Q&A box and we'll read them out loud.
Okay, so we had one come in about Spadina. I think many people shortcut onto Spadina when 4th Avenue may be a better option anyway.
Okay.
And another one came in, please no for number 20. Please don't make it that other request that you got about pedestrian and cyclist only roadway. And this person does not agree with that. Yeah, exactly.
That matches with the 3-way stop.
Yeah.
Not supporting the 3-way stop on 20th and Spadina as well. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody else said, let Spadina flow as it is now. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was driving around yesterday and I was on Spadina and it's more windy than 4th Avenue, that's for sure. And a lot more activity. With the trail and everything.
Yeah, I find getting through the Spadina or the Besborough intersection, I was going to say, at 21st is, it slows down quite a bit through there. So I wouldn't use it as a shortcut. It's not that quick in my mind, but. Someone's got one here. Okay, that's not related to speeding shortcutting, so I'll mention it in your next theme. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so this slide is other suggestions or concerns that were brought to our attention, and these locations are shown in purple on this map. So number 22 is along 24th Street. There is a comment to maintain or continue transit service on 24th Street since there are many seniors on 6th Avenue who rely on the transit system. Number 23, 24th Street, just in between 4th Avenue and 5th Avenue. This is a comment about city buses stopping for extended periods of time in front of the condo there. And these buses generate noise, fumes, and block the loading zone. Number 24, west of 5th Avenue. The west side of 5th Avenue. This is between 23rd Street and 24th Street. There's poor sidewalk condition here, and this is on the 2020 sidewalk preservation list. Number 25, 6th Avenue between 24th Street and 25th Street. There was a suggestion to reduce the width of the median or remove the median due to lack of space for ambulances and fire trucks that travel along 6th Avenue. As a result of large vehicles driving over the median, it is unattractive because the curbs and grass are damaged. Number 26, at 25th Street and 6th Avenue, there was a suggestion to allow westbound left turns onto 6th Avenue between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. Number 27, Meewasin Trail on the east side of Spadina Crescent. There was a suggestion to add railings and adjust the risers at the stairs near 23rd Street. And then the last concern for the other category is a general comment. We received a lot of emails and phone calls about vehicle noise in the Central Business District, and particularly along 24th Street and Spadina Crescent. Okay, and please enter any additional concerns you may have into the Q&A box, and we'll review them now.
Okay, so we had a couple that fall under this category.
Okay.
So the first one, there are a couple intersections or roads downtown that should probably be widened as they don't quite fit 2 cars side by side. In particular, Spadina and 24th Street East and 25th Street and 3rd Avenue North. There are roads pre-existing, but they're not quite wide enough to allow for 2 vehicles, especially if it's a bus, a large truck, or a commercial vehicle. And someone else agreed with that comment. They said that for cars turning right at 24th, having it slightly wider or better line markings would allow cars to move through rather than backing up on Spadina. I'm not sure if that's turning north or south at 20.
Yeah, that's southbound, perhaps?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Well, maybe they'll clarify that.
Okay.
And then there's a question. Is there a plan to reconfigure 4th Avenue and 19th? That's a funky intersection that is confusing in all aspects. Turning onto 4th Avenue off 19th, turning onto Broadway Bridge off 4th Avenue South. There are definitely some interesting maneuvers happening at that intersection.
So I know our team was looking at that intersection because it was a part of the Bus Rapid Transit project. So they're looking at different configurations to improve the safety there and all the turning movements. So I can definitely look into that further and provide an update in the meeting minutes. I just don't have the details right now in front of me, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't think we have a timeline quite yet, but I do recall seeing the configuration, and it was totally different, where you wouldn't have that little median separating the east or north and south directions. So it was going to look more like a typical 3-way intersection, from what I recall. But we can double check that.
I did drive past it yesterday, and performing the eastbound left, where you have to sit and wait at the yield sign, is very nerve-wracking, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I believe we got an email just today about pedestrians crossing there as well, because of the one-way direction to the bridge, that it can be a bit treacherous for pedestrians in there. So this person clarified that 24th and Spadina question, that it's turning east to go under the University Bridge. Oh, so from Spadina to go east, I see. To take the ramp under the bridge, I think.
Okay, yep, you can see that on Google here.
Yeah, and they're saying for 24th and Spadina, the direction is to turn northbound onto Spadina along the river. Okay. Because we have 2 different comments around that, right? And for the 25th and 3rd intersection, it's to turn westbound onto 25th from 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 3rd has a little bit of an interesting configuration at 25th because it narrows quite a bit on the north side. Okay, and let me just double check, make sure I've got all of those. Okay, here's one. I would like to see a plan that shows some downtown avenues made narrower, perhaps one-way streets. Some avenues are very wide, even compared to larger Canadian cities. Wide roads can give the impression that it's easier to go zoom zoom.
Okay.
I can take that back. That might be a little bit beyond the scope of what we typically do in a neighborhood traffic review. But we can definitely pass some of that feedback along when there's road reconstruction to be done, or sometimes there's urban design projects that are done that could narrow the streets. Yeah. And they did confirm it was under the bridge, that the turn lane is not quite wide enough for 2 lanes and a bicycle. So I'm not sure why some of these clarifications are showing up. I can't publish them, so I'm not too sure. Okay, and here's another one at 3rd Avenue South and 19th Street East by the new River Landing development. Will there be real traffic lights or standards there? Right now it's all on the overhead wires.
So one of our team members is working on that intersection, and there will be, yes.
Yeah, the timing, Chelsea? Yeah.
Yeah, so that project is going to be under construction for the next year or two, and the full redesign of the intersection is intended to be a part of the bus rapid transit project. So depending on the timing of that project is when those signals would be upgraded to your typical light standards that you see in the rest of the downtown.
Chelsea? Yeah, I know we've had some confusion at that intersection, like Mary Neal mentioned with her slide. So it would be nice to get that one finally cleaned up. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything new in the chat box quite yet. So maybe we can go over some of the additional concerns that came in since your slides were prepared, Mary Neal.
Sure.
So here's another one for 20th Street in Spadina. And this comment says that it's problematic for pedestrians. Maybe it needs signals. So definitely one we're going to look at. Lots of different suggestions going around for that one. Intersection at 6th Avenue and 24th Street has issues for pedestrians. Corridor lighting. Most of the time, traffic ignores the flashing ambers at pedestrian crossings. Perhaps an education campaign is in order to educate drivers on traffic laws as they apply to these situations, with the possibility of fines being issued. And there's a new one in the chat box here. 1st Avenue South and 20th Street East. When turning eastbound onto 20th Street, is there a plan to have a dedicated turn lane there, or at least an advanced turn light? 1st and 20th. Turning eastbound onto 20th. I'm not sure if that's...
This intersection is also a part of the BRT project?
Yes. Yeah.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out which direction, if it was a southbound right turn or a northbound left turn that they were looking for. Okay, a couple more have come in here. Where is traffic from the new Beto development on 25th supposed to enter or exit? I believe it's off 5th. I believe their entrance is off 5th Avenue. We didn't pull that information because it's outside of our study area, so we don't have it ready on hand right away, but I thought that's what it was. But again, we can double check that and include it in the minutes. Another comment, if the audible pedestrian tone is quite loud at night and bothers people who are trying to sleep, who do they contact to get those looked at? We have to remember this is a residential neighborhood too, and sometimes they are very loud and make it difficult for residents or hotel guests to sleep. So that is our group. We look after those as well. The trick with those is that they often need to be loud because of the traffic during the day, and when the traffic's slower at night, you will notice them more. But if they're turned down too much, people who are visually impaired won't be able to navigate through the intersection. So it's a very delicate balance for us to play with that. So if you submit the locations, we can take a look at it. I can't guarantee they will be turned down, but we can review it. Oh, and for 1st and 20th, they clarified it's the southbound left turn. Southbound left turn, yeah. We'll have to double check the BRT design. I don't remember how the turn lanes look with that project, because I believe the BRT is center running there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that's all the new ones in the chat box. So I'll just go back to the others that we've heard since the slides. Over the years I've been here, I've grown more concerned with pedestrian safety. I often tell people that I'm not exaggerating when I say I'm almost hit by a car at least once per week while walking about. I've also had drivers get mad, yell at me for crossing when I have the light. This is unacceptable. Of particular concern are the corner of 26th and 3rd. There are often cars parked right up to the curb here, making visibility quite poor for those driving. And I have observed vehicles go through the stop sign. I have been almost hit as both a driver and a pedestrian. An easy solution is to not allow parking right up to the curb. And this same person had pedestrian safety concerns for the crosswalks near City Hospital. Vehicles often don't stop for pedestrians here. Not sure if the crosswalks could be made more visible. And with the corner of Queen and 3rd. This area is hard to cross as a pedestrian. It used to be a 4-way stop. Now vehicles going down Queen often just race through without stopping. So those are all a little bit outside of our study area, but we've got them noted down. And a couple of them are within the bikeway study, so they should be looking at those for pedestrian crossings anyhow. Another comment through the chat box came in. Another section that's too narrow is 2nd Avenue turning east onto 20th Street outside the Lighthouse. When cars are parked in the angled stalls, they sometimes creep a bit into the eastbound turn lane. So the angled stalls on 2nd, I believe, another section, so 2nd turning east, making that left, southbound left turn. think. Is that right? I have those directions. And they say it's similar at 2nd and 22nd Street. So that same comment where when there's angled parking and people kind of creep when they're parked, they kind of creep into the eastbound turn lane. So I guess it must be the northbound right, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they're kind of sticking out of the angled parking space, or? Okay.
I think that must be what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
making it tight.
Or, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or not angled quite at the right angle. So they're. Okay.
Or maybe large trucks is often what I hear too sometimes. Yeah.
Too long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So south side of 2nd. That's what they said. Yeah. At, yeah. Northbound right turn. Yeah. South side of 2nd. Okay. Sounds good. We just want to make sure we're looking at the right spot when we're looking at them. So that's why we're asking you to clarify. It's great. So another comment from the emails. The downtown should be a pedestrian-focused area. Because of all the amenities in a downtown, it should not be a place that is easy to drive through. It should be slow. There should be plenty of street parking available as a visual and physical buffer between traffic and pedestrians. Transportation for businesses should be top of mind for deliveries. In the downtown, consideration for the movement of personal vehicles should be considered lowest on the priorities for transportation. It should not be a neighborhood that is easy to pass through. Okay. And then in the chat box, they just clarified for our that angled parking comment is outside the Starbucks and the National Bank. So thanks for making sure we have the right spot. Okay, so back to the emails. With regards to traffic controls, somebody suggested time the lights. Consider having University Bridge to be 3 lanes in the morning and 3 lanes out of downtown in the evening. And, perhaps make a 3-way stop at 23rd and Spadina, and perhaps make a 3-way stop at 22nd and Spadina. Oh, wow. There'll be stop signs all along Spadina.
Yep, 20th, 22nd, and 23rd.
We'll be looking at Spadina very closely based on the comments we've heard so far. Yeah. Okay, and someone in the chat box is disagreeing with respect to that comment. It has to accommodate all modes of transportation. Many businesses serve customers from well outside Saskatoon, and they need to be able to get there. So, okay, and another emailed question. The off-ramp or comment. The off-ramp from Spadina onto 24th Street has 2 lanes, but often the straight lane going west onto 24th is blocked by people turning left onto Spadina because the street becomes very narrow just at that intersection. So going west on 24th and people turning left onto Spadina southward. Because I think it's a sorry, I can't quite see that screen. Yeah, it's a shared, the through and left is a shared lane. I think that's why they're kind of held up by the left turn demand.
Turning vehicles, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the street view, Chelsea.
Yeah, that's helpful. And someone in the chat is agreeing with that last comment about the University Bridge. Great idea to have inbound, outbound traffic be 3 lanes at certain times of day. Lionsgate Bridge does this entering, exiting downtown Vancouver. Okay. And then back to our emails. Traffic in the 300 block of 5th Avenue North. So I'm not sure the 300 block. So it says traffic heading east on 25th Street and turning right onto 5th Avenue tends to accelerate after making the turn. There are 8 driveways from high-rise buildings and 1 low-story building entering onto 5th Avenue in this 1 block area. There are vehicles parked on both sides of the street. It is difficult for vehicles heading on 5th and onto 5th Avenue to see the cross traffic to proceed and or exit the driveways, 5th Avenue and 23rd Street. Oh, sorry, that's a different comment. So that's for that first block between 25th and 24th, I guess. So they're having trouble pulling out of their driveways, I guess, because people are making that, taking that corner so quickly. Okay, and then there's another comment in the email for 5th Avenue and 23rd Street. Heading south on 5th Avenue at 23rd Street, it is very difficult to see traffic going east on 23rd. Because of the bicycle lane, cars parked on the northwest side of the intersection are in the line of vision. A driver is well into the intersection before being able to observe oncoming traffic. So I think we've pulled the parking back. I'm not sure if it's that corner or the other. It might have been the southwest corner. I think we pulled back last year. I'm not sure about the northwest corner. We'll have to double check that during our review. Another email, traffic light at 5th and 24th does not warrant operating 24/7. In previous years, it used to go flashing red, yellow from midnight to about 6:30 or 7. There is no need to sit and wait without a car to be seen for sometimes several minutes. Not even the Star Phoenix is moving at those hours. So again, I think because of COVID, everything's on that pedestrian recall. So I'm not sure about this signal, if it's usually on pedestrian recall or not. We can double check. Okay, and there's another comment from the chat. For traffic control, is there a plan to replace any traffic lights with roundabouts? Or maybe some of those suggested stop signs on Spadina can be roundabouts. I don't think there's any plans right now to replace an existing traffic signal with roundabouts. Or those suggested stop signs, we'll have to see what they warrant, I guess, when we do the review. Sorry, Mary Neal, feel free to jump in. I don't want to answer all your questions for you.
No, that was good. That one's a tough one. I will have to be reviewing the data and for sure completing site visits to see how they're functioning right now.
Okay, so another emailed question. The visibility at the corner of 20th and Spadina. So yeah, since the reopening of the traffic bridge, this intersection has become quite busy. I believe it's even busier than when the old bridge was open. My concern is that with vehicles parked along the west side of Spadina, it is very difficult to see clearly when trying to turn left onto Spadina from 20th. It is also a fairly busy area for pedestrians. With the speed of some of the traffic tends to be excessive as well. With 3 large hotels in the near vicinity, I expect there are visitors to our city in this area who might also find this challenging due to the poor visibility. Though I hesitate to advocate them in order to make the intersection safer for both motorists and pedestrians, the solutions I see are perhaps a 3-way stop at the intersection, or alternatively implementing several car lengths of no parking on Spadina from the corner of 20th Street in both directions.
Okay, so parking on the west side of the north leg and south leg.
Oh, like, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see anything else in the chat box. So I will go back to the email. So these are the speeding and noise concerns. Oh, that's a long list. I don't know if I'll be able to go over all of these, but we'll do some of them. Speeding and noise. Okay, so Spadina is a very busy street and is used as a joyriding street for lots of people with loud cars and motorbikes coming from Victoria along Spadina. Traffic always speeds up quickly, as well as traffic going east up the Broadway Bridge. Sorry, that's my dishwasher's going. I hope you don't hear that. Mary Neil, did you want to give an update on the vehicle noise study?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of vehicle noise concerns, so it'd be great to give an update. All right, so vehicle noise has been an ongoing issue throughout the city, and as you can tell, we've heard a lot of concerns about it through our emails and phone calls. So the existing traffic noise sound attenuation program addresses traffic noise for very specific circumstances. Many locations are not eligible for traffic noise sound attenuation under the existing policies. So those measures are berms or sound walls. To address noise for these other locations, we need to investigate traffic noise mitigation strategies that could be applied to the entire city. So at its regular council meeting on July 27th, council approved that funding for the vehicle noise study be requested through the Municipal Economic Enhancement Program, also known as MEEP. Once we have funding for the study, we will be looking for a vehicle noise mitigation specialist to conduct research, complete a jurisdictional review, engage key stakeholders, prepare cost estimate, and then recommend possible mitigation measures that could be presented for the next budgeting cycle. So we hope that these actions will help us make some progress on the vehicle noise issues throughout the city.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it'll be, we hear about vehicle noise from most of our neighborhoods. And I don't know, this summer we've actually heard more about it than typical years. So I don't know if there's more people with modified mufflers getting out and about. We're not too sure what the source of it is, but hopefully we can get it addressed or have some options on how to address it once that noise study is done. Okay, a couple more speeding or noise concerns from the email. I think the speed limit between 23rd Street and 20th Street on Spadina should be reduced to 40 or 30 kilometers per hour. There is a lot of pedestrian traffic and windy roads. It would also discourage racing and speeding. The same person suggested more radar for speeding on bridges because the cruisers go from bridge to bridge via Spadina and South Crescent. And they also mentioned noise reduction with respect to mufflers that backfire and revving of engines and loud motorcycles. Okay, and there's a couple more about noise in general and the hot rodders, joyriders. Yeah, so I won't repeat those since we've got those logged. There's another comment from the chat box. Coming into downtown off Broadway Bridge, heading northbound, there's a small section that has the white lane still painted on to suggest not driving there, but I don't understand why, when traffic could be in that lane, to then be prepared to turn eastbound onto 20th Street. Can these lines be removed, or is there a legit purpose that they're there? I'm not sure if the Google Maps will be current for this because of the bike lane changes on 4th. So we can take a look. Oops, I don't think that's quite the right spot, Chelsea. It's further back by closer to the bridge, I believe. Yeah, I think it's those pavement markings on that corner. Yeah, I think that's what they're asking about. Oh, and they do say Google Maps does show the lines. So, so that's something we can take a look at. Again, this intersection is part of that BRT and will be reconfigured for that, but maybe as a short-term change, we can check those pavement markings. Yeah, so it's those gore markings, I think. Right in there. Yeah. Okay, good. I think we know where we're looking for that one now. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Right, so I think that's it from the chat box for now. So there's a couple cycling ones that came in via email. Traffic is too slow. Lanes are tied up for bike lanes. Was from one comment. And the next is bike lanes should be added so bikes do not disturb flow of traffic. So interesting to hear the two perspectives. And there's another one here. As a person who currently walks roughly an hour each day, I continue to be both frustrated and startled with the folks who choose to ride their bikes on the sidewalks, even when there is a bike path right beside them. I understand that cyclists and walkers need to share the path in places. Okay. Yeah, and then they learned to ride, and as a 7-year-old, had no trouble negotiating safely through city streets and failed to understand why this is too hard for people to do nowadays. So did you want to add any comments on that one, Marineal? Because I know we have an education campaign.
So I also received a similar phone call today as well from individuals that walk along that path. So they had said that they are finding more bikes on the sidewalk there that aren't being quite courteous. And so something that we want to do with our education campaign is, of course, to remind cyclists to be courteous when they're riding along a shared pathway. They have to share with pedestrians. And then use their, horn and bell in order to warn pedestrians if they are to pass them.
Yeah, and I think one of the messages was to use the bell, and one was to kind of slow so that they don't get startled. We have both messages going out, but cyclists are allowed to be in that space even if there is a bike path. So we just want to make sure everyone's aware of that some cyclists just are not comfortable in the street, and that's why the shared pathways are there, so that people of all ages and abilities can still cycle. Okay, and then we had a few maintenance comments coming in. Different locations regarding sidewalk maintenance or snow removal or graffiti or smells below the Broadway Bridge. So most of those are not part of the neighborhood traffic review because they're not necessarily transportation issues. But we still collect them and we pass them on. So existing sidewalks are transportation issue, but if it's a maintenance issue, it's part of our asset preservation group. They maintain those. So we'll pass those on to them to make sure they review those. All right, here's a comment from the chat box. Close off 2nd Avenue completely to traffic and make it entirely pedestrian or cyclist only and add some nice green space, common space. It's one of the narrower avenues anyways. Suggestion, yeah. Do you want to talk about the downtown cycling network, Mary Neal?
Sure, yeah, I can provide an update about
related to that comment, yeah.
Perfect, yep, I can do that. And then Chelsea's pulling up the slides, so thank you, Chelsea. Let me update here. Okay. So the Downtown All Ages and Abilities, also known as the AAA Cycling Network, has been endorsed by Council. And you can see the 3 streets here on the slide, 3rd Avenue, 23rd Street, and 19th Street. And those are indicated on this slide in the map in orange. So Council deferred implementation decisions until additional engagement can be completed. We are planning to proceed with that work in 2021. And if you would like more information on that project, we can paste a website link in the Q&A chat box for you.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the link here. Here it is.
Oh.
Okay. And then there was just another follow-up comment to that 2nd Avenue, closing it to make it pedestrian and cyclist only, that it's 2-way traffic from 23rd to 19th. I believe it's 2-way all the way to Spadina. Okay.
Yes, it is, I think.
Okay. We also had another, oh, sorry, Chelsea's showing us 2nd Avenue. We also had a comment via email about the number of learner drivers in the downtown core, particularly on 5th Avenue in the 100 and 200 blocks, learning to parallel park, and that it makes it very challenging to drive on the street. So their comment says, do you know how long it takes to teach somebody to parallel park? A really long time. You can always tell those of us that live in the area, as soon as it's clear, we all bypass the learner vehicle, others wait behind it, and that can take up to 5 minutes. That is an insanely long time to wait. If I did that every time I was waiting for a learner driver, I would lose days out of my year. Okay. That's all the comments in the. Oh, I see. Okay, so they're clarifying for 2nd Avenue again. So they're saying as opposed to being 4 lanes, it would be 2 lanes.
So between Regina and 23rd
and 19th. Yeah. So she or he, sorry, I don't know. It's 2-way. When they said it's 2-way traffic from 23rd to 19th, they meant 2 travel lanes per direction.
Mm-hmm.
So it could. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not seeing any more comments in the chat box. And I think we caught up on the email ones as well. So I just want to put a link in the chat while I remember about it. Because online meetings are still so new to us and we're always looking to continuously improve. When we had in-person meetings, we usually had a paper evaluation form, but that's not possible right now. So we have a bit of an online survey if you have some feedback from tonight's meeting. So I'll just post that in the chat box and I can do it again at the end of the meeting. So I don't forget when it's there. Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to provide updates about, Marinelle?
I can go over some of the projects kind of in the city area. We have slides for that as well. And I went over it in the issues and other projects video clip as well. So I can give a little brief update on those ones. Okay, so the SID Buckwald Rehabilitation Project. Okay, so the 2nd and final phase of construction on the SID Buckwald Bridge is well underway on the east half of the bridge, and it is proceeding on schedule. So construction is expected to be completed by the end of October, and we will organize data collection for this neighborhood traffic review only after that project is complete. If you'd like more information, we can paste the link to the information on the website in the chat box as well. And then another project is Imagine Idlewild project. So this is a design initiative to improve the function, safety, connectivity, and quality of the roadway and public realm along Idlewild Drive, and that is between 20th Street and 25th Street. So the preferred design minimizes travel time for the most drivers while supporting all modes of travel and enabling redevelopment opportunities. The concept design enables safer connections for people riding bicycles or walking, and it also includes better access to the proposed bus rapid transit or BRT station near 22nd Street. And we can provide a link for that too. And another project is the bus rapid transit, which we have mentioned. Saskatoon City Council approved the final routing for the bus rapid transit system. The corridors are listed here on the slide. They include 1st Avenue, 25th Street, and 19th Street. So work on the design is underway and construction is slated to start in 2022. And the Downtown AAA Cycling Network, which you've heard about already.
I'm just trying to catch up on the links here, Maria, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
And if you missed the links, most of it's available through the search bar on the Saskatoon.ca webpage as well. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing anything new in the question and answer box. So maybe we should move on to the next steps.
Okay. All right, so the next step slide is up. Thanks, Chelsea. All right, so the comment period will be open for a month. Once we close the comment period, we will begin our data collection for the study, such as completing field observations as well. Because of the changes resulting from COVID-19, we are currently monitoring traffic volumes and behaviors. Once traffic patterns normalize, we will begin to collect traffic and pedestrian data. We are already seeing things shift back to normal since the reopening has begun. After data collection, we will prepare a draft traffic plan and share it with you at another meeting so that we can gather your feedback. If you would like to be kept up to date via email, please subscribe for updates at the Saskatoon.ca engage page. And the next slide. Feel free to reach out to us if you think of any additional concerns. We encourage you to share the information with your neighbors so that they also have an opportunity to participate and we can add to the concern location map. As mentioned earlier, we have multiple methods for submitting comments. You can post comments at the Saskatoon.ca engage page. You can subscribe for updates at Saskatoon.ca/NTR. You can submit issues through the Report a Traffic Issue app. You can contact me by phone, email, letter, or you can also fill out the online survey. And Natalie had mentioned that she put the link to that in the chat box. More details are available on the Saskatoon.ca engage page. And if we were unable to get to your question tonight, we will provide a response in the meeting minutes, which will be posted to the Saskatoon.ca engage page. The meeting recording will also be posted to the engage page in the next few days. And as mentioned, we would love to get your opinion on how the online meeting went today. Please let us know by filling out the online survey. That link is in the Q&A forum.
Okay, thanks, Mary-Neil. That was a good overview. I'm not seeing anything new in the chat box. Somebody did ask if we were going to post how many people were signed on to the meeting in the minutes. We typically don't post the number in the minutes because we get so many comments through other methods. So the number of attendees at the meeting isn't reflective of the input that we received. But it usually goes into the final report because then all the emails and other methods get attached. So won't be in the minutes, but in the final report for the study area. Okay, so I think that's all we've got. So if you think of anything else after the meeting, like Mary-Neil said, please feel free to reach out. The more information we have, the more fulsome of a neighborhood traffic review we can provide when we come to the second meeting. So thanks so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to attend our meeting tonight. On behalf of Mary-Neil, Chelsea, and myself, thanks for joining us and for participating in the Central Business District Neighborhood Traffic Review. We look forward to meeting with you again in the new year with a draft traffic plan. Thanks so much for attending.